always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Hey guys, and welcome to GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Cynthia, and happy Monday, everyone. As always, super glad to be back recording another episode for you guys. I hope you all are having a very strong start to your week, whether that be you're being extremely productive and getting things done, or it could be as simple as just making your bed in the morning and having some motivation to make breakfast. So, I know we're still all kind of in this weird spot with the pandemic. Some states are opening up, others are not. But regardless, let's hang in there. And as always, I always hope that you guys are being safe and healthy. So, over the weekend, nothing too eventful happened in my life besides watching a whole bunch of homemade baby videos when I was a baby and my siblings were babies and when my parents were extremely young. And it was really nice to see some of those movies. I don't know if I mentioned this already on this podcast, but we found out something very interesting while watching these videos. So, obviously, my name is Cynthia, right? I introduced myself in the beginning of the podcast. When I was younger, for the first couple years of my life, I went by Cindy. I immediately shut that down once I realized, I don't like to be called that. Anyway, I was going by Cindy for the first 2 years of my life, and we were watching a video of my first birthday party at the park, and my aunt holding me, and these people are my family. I keep hearing Gigi in the video, and they're like, Gigi, Gigi. And I can see that they're directing that towards me, and I'm confused. My parents are mad confused. I'm like, why am I being called Gigi? Who is Gigi? And for the first 5 minutes, we were all so confused with the blank stare. And my parents start cracking up saying, oh my God, I forgot that we used to call you Gigi because Monique, my older sister, couldn't pronounce Cindy. So because my sister couldn't call me Cindy, my sister's the one who initially gave me the nickname of Gigi. And because of my sister, everyone else started calling me Gigi for the first couple years of my life. So I'm like, great. I had a whole different identity when I was younger, and you just randomly switched up my name as I got older. Because also, before all this, before I was even born, my parents were expecting a boy. So back in the 90s, and even prior to that, we all know technology isn't not even close to what it is now. So the ultrasounds weren't extremely accurate. And my mom's OBGYN told her that she was going to have a boy. That boy was supposed to be me. So throughout my mom's entire pregnancy, she was planning for a boy. They decorated my room in blue. My baby shower was blue. The whole 9 yards. Comes June 28th, and a whole girl comes out. So I went from being Junior because they were going to name me after my dad. So I went from Junior to Cynthia to Gigi, Cindy, and then back to Cynthia. So I had 5 different names. Anyway, I know we're not here to talk about my upbringing and all the different names I had as a child. So let's get into what we're really here to talk about. Entertainment news, entertainment world, industry, what's going on, what's been popping. So we have a lot that we're going to be covering today. For this first segment, we're going to be talking about the super entertaining Instagram live battle between early 2000s legends, Nelly and Ludacris. And then later on, we're going to be talking about former Bachelorette Hannah Brown and some of the backlash she is currently facing. And then at the very end, I'll be sharing with you guys my entertainment pick of the week. So for all of you new listeners tuning in to me right now, each week I share an entertainment pick of the week of my choice, which is either a book, a movie, a TV show, new music, anything pertaining to entertainment and something that I've been loving during the past week, or maybe not even loving. Maybe it's something new that I tried or I listened to and I wasn't the biggest fan, so I want to complain on here. Then that's what I'm going to do. But for this week, I actually did enjoy, it's a movie, so I will share that for the final segment of today's episode. So let's get into it. Let's first talk about Luda versus Nelly. So Swiss Beats and Timbaland, they started this whole thing, the Versus Instagram Live Battle Series, and that has taken on a life of its own. After only 2 months of battles, we've already seen iconic bouts between hip-hop and music legends like RZA versus DJ Premier, T-Pain versus Lil Jon, and most recently, the soulful neo-soul duet between Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. And the battle continued, this time bringing us none other than Nelly versus Ludacris. So the two Southern rap legends have extremely diverse catalogs, with both Ludacris and Nelly winning 3 Grammy Awards respectively, along with several Billboard Hot 100 placements and a laundry list of other accolades. So as I just mentioned, they each have 3 Grammy wins. Ludacris has had 5 songs hit the number 1 spot on the Billboard charts. Nelly has had 4 number 1s. But Nelly has made $22 million in album sales, whereas Ludacris has had $14.5 million in sales. But regardless of the numbers and charts and millions of dollars each of them have made, they both have had an immense impact and immense contribution to our early 2000s era and beyond, especially for us millennials. When I think of Ludacris and Nelly, I think of my middle school, high school dances. That's what every DJ at that time was playing, was Ludacris and Nelly. I mean, they did have hits after hits, so I'm not surprised, and we were loving it. I feel like nowadays, middle school and high school dances are all well, actually, I was going to say TikTok dances, but we're all in quarantine, so I'm pretty sure everything got canceled, prom and all. So anyway, needless to say, Nelly and Ludacris were 2 of the defining hip-hop artists of the early 2000s, expanding the genre's sound while representing St. Louis and Atlanta, respectively. Their personalities were undeniable, still undeniable. They each collected more hits than most mainstream pop heroes of the time. So this battle was definitely worth tuning into, especially considering the wide assortment of music that the two can choose from. Just as a reminder for some of you who don't know, the way that the Versus battles have been running is that each artist can choose from anything in their catalog. That includes any songs they're featured on, have written on, and their own solo tracks. So this leaves both Nelly and Ludacris with a lot of options, plus some interesting stories that are sure to follow each song selection. So we all know how deep Ludacris's discography is, but don't sleep on Nelly, y'all. He doesn't just have country grammar to turn into the clutch. He's got a lot of hits out there. So this Versus battle between Luda and Nelly took place this past Saturday night, May 16th. The 2 chart-topping greats went head-to-head on Instagram Live in arguably, I think, the most high-profile battle in the Timbaland and Swiss Beats curated Versus series to date, for sure. I think it had over 400,000 people viewing the live. So Ludacris was it's going to be a historic night. He was rocking a giant chain and a Dominic Wilkins Atlanta Hawks throwback jersey. And, he said this, prior to the battle when he was combing his afro with the pick. And Ludacris was I feel the energy from around the world. So for sure, Ludacris's attire was was heat, okay? It was heat with the big chain and the Atlanta Hawks throwback jersey. And then after Nelly initially signed on, Ludacris also mentioned that this year marks the 20th anniversary for both of their debut albums, Back for the First Time for Ludacris, Country Grammar for Nelly, both of which sold millions of copies while setting up prolonged runs of success. As Nelly put it into his co-patriot and versus competitor In Between Bites of Chicken, your longevity is impeccable, and it absolutely is. Now, before we get into the songs that each of them played for their battle, we need to talk about the real battle, which was Nelly versus Nelly's Wi-Fi. And if you tuned in to their Instagram Live versus battle, then you know exactly why I say this. And we're going to get more into that right after this commercial break.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
What's up, y'all, and welcome back to GSMC Entertainment Podcast. So prior to coming back to this segment, we were just talking about the real battle, which was Nelly versus his Wi-Fi. He was experiencing some technical difficulties. And almost the entire live stream on his side was like pixelated or super blurry, which we know as viewers that could be really annoying when you're like watching something and they freeze every 2 seconds and like they're still talking and they have no idea that their service is just complete trash. That was literally Nelly. Like Nelly was in his own little world. Luda's sitting there like, bro, you are wasting my time right now. So definitely there have been countless memes and jokes about Nelly's, trashy Wi-Fi. Like I said, he was freezing every 2 seconds and Ludacris was just sitting there with a straight face like, come on, man. he's probably thinking like, you got all this money and you can't even have a decent Wi-Fi connection. You have $22 million in sales, album sales, and you can't pay to have decent Wi-Fi connection. I did hear around the block there, I'm not entirely sure how true this is, that Versus sent both Ludacris and Nelly like a backup Wi-Fi box or something like that, just in case, well, to prevent exactly what just happened. And apparently Ludacris, he prepared prior to the live. I think he called somebody from Versus just to make sure that his Wi-Fi was like on point. He had everything set up, whereas Nelly didn't. Again, I'm not sure how accurate that is. That is just from an article I read, but if that's the case, I don't deny it because Ludacris came prepared. It could be the Virgo in him. He is a Virgo, and I've heard they are like true perfectionists, so I wouldn't be surprised if this were the case. And like I just said, at times it was completely blurry. You legit couldn't see anything. They had to like log off and log back in a couple times, and Ludacris was ready to pack up and go. He looked bored at his own battle, which is like which was pretty funny to witness. And to top it off, every time Ludacris tried to wrap it up and be like, all right, it's been good, bruh. Like, you did your thing. Nelly would interrupt and be like, oh no, wait, man, I got another one. I got more hits. And Ludacris, being the Southern gentleman that he is, sits there patiently just staring at this man like, what are you doing? And then Nelly proceeded to play a whole bunch of songs that nobody knew, not even Ludacris. Like, it is truly funny. If you don't want to see it, I'm sure you can log onto Twitter and just type like Luda versus Nelly, and like a whole bunch of clips will pop up of this exact same situation. Like, Nelly is in his own world, definitely drunk, by the way. And he has a red Solo cup in his hand. He's jamming to his own music that nobody knows. And Ludacris just sitting there, doing the polite nod, like, all right, bro, like, wrap it up. So very funny to witness, super just entertaining. But with all that to say, it was a really good battle. They both had hits. Some of our favorite 2000s, early 2000s songs that made it into the Versus battle were, of course, Nelly's song Dilemma featuring Kelly Rowland, My Chick Bad, which is Ludacris's song, Body on Me with Nelly, Yeah with Ludacris and Usher, and I believe Lil Jon, Where the Party At, and my personal favorite, and I believe a lot of other people's personal favorite, Lovers and Friends. That one definitely took the cake. The very last song that they battled up against was Nelly's Dilemma versus Ludacris's Lovers and Friends. And I'm sorry, like, they're both super good songs. Like, it's a close tie. But Lovers and Friends, it's like that song when you're at the club. That's that song that the DJ plays, the very last song, like, to tell everybody in the club, like, all right, y'all, wrap it up. Men, go up to that girl, ask for her number, ask for her Instagram, whatever. And like, Lovers and Friends is that song that's like, all right, wrap it up. You feel me? So, with all of this to say, Ludacris definitely takes the win for this battle. Wi-Fi connection, style, his fit was heat, and just the overall songs that they play, their catalog. I think Ludacris won. So I believe we can all agree. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you Team Luda, Team Nelly, if you watched their Versus battle? So now moving on to our next subject. Next order of business, we're going to be talking about former Bachelorette Hannah Brown. And I do want to say a little disclaimer before we move on to this portion of the episode that it might get a little heavy. So hang tight. But I think this was very important for me to include this specific story of Hannah Brown, just because in the social climate that we're in, I think it's also my duty to kind of bring awareness to the situation and have an open dialogue with you guys about it. So, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the Bachelorette star Hannah Brown, she's facing serious backlash after sharing a video of herself singing the N-word. And she said it with a hard ER at the end. And now members of Bachelor Nation are weighing in and dragging her, definitely calling her out. Now, I'm going to be super blunt with y'all. I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about her being dragged or the backlash she's facing, because I just think we see this same situation time and time again. Hannah Brown is 25 years old. Okay. We are literally the same age, her and I, and she still doesn't understand and comprehend that saying that word is not okay. Especially non-black people shouldn't be saying that term. I don't understand what's so hard to grasp around that idea. And especially in the social climate to say that, no. So during an Instagram live yesterday, Hannah Brown dropped the slur while rapping along to DaBaby's song Rockstar. And as time progressed through the live, Hannah Brown began to notice criticism for using the word from fans in the comments. And she was like, I did? I'm so sorry. I was singing I'm so sorry. And I'm getting a bit, I don't want to say heated, but I don't know. It frustrates me and it heavily annoys me that people try to use this lame excuse, that non-black folks try to use this lame excuse that, oh, it's in the song. The N-word is in the song, so I can say it. No, that's not a free pass for us non-black folks to say the N-word. It's the same word with the B word. The B word that rhymes with rich. Okay? So when men call ladies the B word, we obviously flip out, right? That's not okay. But women, we have taken that B word, and now we use it as a term of endearment. We took that word back. We took that power of the meaning of the word back to us. And from women to women, when I say it to my friends, hey B, what's up B? Doesn't have the same context because we took that word back. And that's the exact same situation with the N-word. It's not our place to say, non-black folks. We shouldn't say that word. It's really quite simple, and I can't believe we have to break it down as if we're in kindergarten. If you are non-black, you shouldn't say the word. And like I said, I know this conversation's pretty heavy. It may be uncomfortable, but it is what's going on right now in the media, in the entertainment world. I mean, Bachelor Nation, a lot of viewers watch it, and it's a lot of non-black viewers watch it. And she has a huge platform, and she's saying this racial slur. And, what are you trying to portray to your viewers and followers who are majority predominantly white? Again, I'm not saying she's racist at all or anything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that racial slur shouldn't even have slipped out of the mouth, because in that song, she decided to skip over the F word, but not the N word. So yeah, definitely have to call her out as well. And what annoyed me even more about the situation is that at one point, Hannah Brown even suggested it may have been her brother, Patrick Brown, not her who said it. So when viewers continued to confront her, she addressed it again. She said, I really don't think I said that word. I don't think I said that word, but now I'm like, oh God, I'd never used that word. I'd never called anybody that. We don't say that word, blah, 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 blah. But what really irritated me about this live is that once viewers started to call her out, she was giggling while saying, I'm sorry. She was like, oh wait, I did? I'm sorry. You can tell she wasn't being genuine. So she was not being genuine. She was giggling as she's saying, I'm sorry. And she was denying that fact that she used the word by saying, I don't think I said that. I didn't even realize I said that. So I'm going to take a very brief break right now. And when we come back, more on Hannah Brown.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Entertainment Podcast. So we're going to continue on with this heavy conversation regarding Hannah Brown using the racial slur while trying to sing along to a song during her Instagram Live. So as I was just saying prior to the break, what really annoyed me about the situation the most was that she really didn't feel like, for me, I didn't feel like she was genuinely sorry. I think she was more sorry about the fact that she got caught for saying that word and not necessarily saying sorry because she genuinely understands that racial slur holds a lot of hate, and that it's just not okay to say. So, and the fact that she commented saying, I didn't even realize I said that. It just went past her head. That's kind of concerning as well. And I'm sorry, Bachelor fans, Hannah Brown fans, if you're listening to me, that I'm talking about this, and I'm going to call it out because as a non-black person myself, it's my job to call out nonsense like this and spread awareness that this is not okay. So, following the backlash and criticism surrounding her actions on social media, Hannah Brown took to her Instagram stories to address the situation, and she posted on her stories saying, I owe you all a major apology. There is no excuse, and I will not justify what I said. I have read your messages and seen the hurt I have caused. I own it all. I am terribly sorry, and know that whether in public or private, this language is unacceptable. I promise to do better. So that was the statement, and I put air quotes around, statement that she posted on her Instagram stories. Again, I'm going to be brutally honest here. That apology was trash. It didn't seem genuine. I think, as I just said, I think she's only apologizing because she got caught, because people are calling her out for it, but not because she actually understands how terrible it was for her to say that term. There's literally nothing in the world you can say to excuse her for saying the N-word, or for any non-black person for using the N-word. Like, there's literally no excuse. We all know history and the history of that hateful term. And if you don't, then I highly suggest you do yourself a favor and get yourself educated real quick before someone else educates you. I would suggest tune into Rachel Lindsay's video, who was another former Bachelorette star on the show. I would tune into Rachel Lindsay's latest video. She addresses a situation regarding Hannah Brown, and she took to social media to educate Hannah Brown and her followers on why using the N-word is always out of the question. So this is what Rachel Lindsay had to say. You know, it's easy to make a statement, as she's referring to Hannah Brown's brief apology on Instagram stories. She says, it's easy to make a statement. It's easy to hide behind words, but when you're bold enough to say the N-word on camera on your platform, let me just say, when you're bold enough to say the word on your platform, then you need to be bold enough to use your face on camera and apologize the same way you said the word. Period. I 1000% agree with Rachel Lindsay. I forget, there's like a little saying out there, and like, I hope I like don't mess it up when I say, but I think it goes along the lines of your apology needs to be as loud as the action that you're trying to apologize for. And that's essentially what Rachel Lindsay's saying. Like, you're brave and bold to say this on camera. You need to be brave and bold to show your face and actually apologize, and not hide behind words and just post it on an Instagram story. So again, I know this conversation may be uncomfortable for some of you guys, but we have to have it. I think it is like the number one trending thing on E! News. It is trending on Twitter. So like I said, a lot of people view The Bachelorette, The Bachelor, and their audience tends to be predominantly white. So I just think it's very important to raise awareness and to call it out when we see something like this, because it's not okay, and all we can really do is just educate. Again, I'm not here to bash Hannah Brown, so I don't want Bachelor Nation coming at me after this. I'm not here bashing Hannah Brown, but I just think it's important to just educate her followers, and educate everyone else about why the N-word is just literally not okay to say if you are a non-black person. There is never a situation when you can say that word. All right, let's move on to something on a lighter note, okay? Let's move on to a lighter note. We are now getting into the final segment topic of today's episode, and that is the entertainment pick of the week. So, as I mentioned in the very beginning of today's podcast, each week I share with you guys something in the entertainment industry that I've been tuning in, that I've been loving, maybe not loving so much. So that's either a movie, TV show, book, music, whatever it is. I'm here to give you guys my entertainment pick of the week, my recommendation for the week, and it is a movie. Now, this movie is definitely not like the latest film out there. This movie actually came out in 2008, which is crazy because in 2008, that feels like it wasn't that far long ago. But in reality, that's 12 years ago, which is crazy because I literally remember 2008 as if it were yesterday. Anyway, my entertainment pick of the week is The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I know, it's kind of random. Trust me, I think it's kind of random that I even engaged in this movie. But nonetheless, I'm still including it as the entertainment pick of the week because it is now available to stream on Netflix. It is one of the newer movies to stream on Netflix. So in that sense, it is like the latest film you are able to stream. So for those of you who have never seen The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, the basic plot line is that it tells the story of Benjamin Button, a man who starts aging backwards with consequences. So he's born as an old man, like a baby, like he's a born baby, but he's like an old man with wrinkles and everything. It's kind of gross. And then he progresses through life getting younger instead of aging older as the typical normal life cycle. So as, you know, he's born an old man, everyone's like a newborn baby. So it's just like very reverse. The cast of this film consists of Brad Pitt, Cate Blanchett, Julia Ormond, Taraji P. Henson, Elle Fanning, and others. This movie is a drama, fantasy, romance film, and I was drinking a glass of wine, so it could have been the wine that made me in the mood to like watch like a romancy film. I don't know. And this was actually my first time ever watching the movie prior to it just being available to stream on Netflix. I have never seen The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I actually remember when I used to go to the movie theaters back in 2008 because I was in middle school, and like that was like the cool spot to kick it at. So I'd go to the movie theater, and I remember seeing like on the glass frame in the movie theater like upcoming movies, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. So I like have always known the story a little bit, but I finally got to watching it over the weekend, and wow, it is like a true, not even just a movie, like it holds the true meaning of what a film is, what it should be. And let me just say, Brad Pitt should have won a Grammy for his performance, because this is definitely one of his best films. And this movie was sad, but like a different kind of sad. It's not like the kind of sad where it makes you like cry. Like, I don't know. I can't think of any movies that really make me cry. But it's not like that type of sadness. It's just like the movie makes you think about life in such like a different, weird way. For me, it just made me ponder like, what is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of time? What is time? What does it mean? Like, it almost made me fearful. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. The movie's tagline is "Time is moving, even backwards." And I guess that's what I'm fearful of, because my biggest worry or frustration is wasted time. Like, I never want to feel like I'm wasting time. And if I'm wasting time, that like I become very irritable. I don't know. That's like the one thing that you'll never get back. And as I'm growing older, I don't know, I just start to think about life and think like, I don't know, is this like what a midlife crisis might feel like? I don't know. It just like made me like really, it's like an introspective film, like just really internalize and look at my own life. Like, wow, I should like really value the people around me, and, you know, just like the natural cycle of life, like people dying and dealing with death. And, you know, as he's progressing through life and he's getting younger, while all of his close family and friends, they're getting older and dying off. So it's just like really sad in that aspect. And obviously it is a fantasy film, so no, we literally biologically cannot age backwards. Like we can't be born old. So I don't know, it was like a very interesting film. Like I definitely wasn't expecting that. And this movie is like a 2.5 hour long film, so it will definitely make the time go by fast. I did make the mistake of watching this movie like right before bed. So I literally couldn't sleep that night just because I kept thinking about the movie and like what is like the main message of the movie? What is the meaning of life and time? And I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you're the same way. Like once you're like done watching a movie, you just kind of like ponder and think about it a lot. Yeah, so I definitely won't be watching like a heavy film like that again before bed. I need to watch like a Disney movie or something right before bed. So I know I'm kind of all over the place. Let me just share some interesting facts about the film instead before we wrap up today's episode. So in the movie, a hummingbird is featured a couple times, and the setting of the film opens up with Hurricane Katrina about to hit the hospital. The hummingbird is the only bird in the world that can fly backwards. I didn't know that. And hurricanes spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. These, among other backward motifs involving clocks and so on, tie in with the major thematic elements related to Benjamin Button about living life in reverse. So I thought that was like really interesting little tools to include in the movie just to tie in with the whole theme about time moving backwards. Another interesting fact about the movie. Brad Pitt stated that it took 5 hours each day to complete the makeup required for the role. And I definitely have to applaud the makeup artist who took part of this film because bravo. I mean, the makeup was on point. Like Brad Pitt, I'm not sure how old he was in 2008, but he had to play, an old man. He had to play a 17-year-old boy in the film. He had to play a man in his 40s. He had to play all different ages within one film. So definitely I hope the makeup artists, costume designers, whoever was involved in his looks, got a fat check, and hopefully they got like Grammy nominated or actually won because the makeup was on point. But can you guys imagine sitting in a makeup chair for that long? 5 hours? I can barely stand like 30 minutes. But that's their job, right? Another interesting fact is that the short story was based on a remark by author Mark Twain. So Mark Twain famously remarked that the best part of life was from the beginning and the worst part was the end. And I'm like, again, like statements like that just make me think too hard about life. And I just start to I just think too much into it. So all of that to say, that is my entertainment pick of the week, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. So if you do have a Netflix account, it is streaming on Netflix. And you can go on ahead, enjoy it, watch it, and it'll leave you thinking for like the next 3 hours or so about life and time and all that. So, and that's going to wrap up today's episode here at the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. If you liked what I had discussed on today's episode, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff because that tremendously helps the show. And I also really enjoy engaging with you guys as well. So I wish you all a very happy, healthy, and successful week ahead, and I'll catch you guys here next week.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.